Well, today is a very fun day. We got to meet Derek from Vice Grip Garage. Him and his son bought a 454 Suburban, drove it up from Tijuana to Tacoma. So I say meet your heroes. It was awesome. But here we are, we're back down at the shop in Tacoma, ready for round 2 on the little forklift. Gonna go see if the starter is in fact shot and go from there. Don't know what they're gonna find out. No surprises, it's right where we left it. New 6-volt battery gonna go in, so at least we won't have trouble with that anymore. And gotta check and see what the grinding noise was as the next step on the starter. Gonna crack open this starter and take a peek, see if we sheared one of the shear pins. That should be. If you spin it all the way out, does it get stuck? What's this here? Current hypothesis is that this threaded piece here, we may have lost the threads at the end here. Yeah, they seem like they're missing. And the 12 volts hitting this was a little bit harsher. Well, rarely is the news mediocre good, but what we've come to is this keeper on the end of the nose of the starter. The threads are giving up, it's a little bit misshapen, and when the gear spins out and bangs it, it pushes it off the end of the nose, giving space and causing the gear to skip. So this is designed so that when the gear comes spinning out, it stops it here. And the problem is this bangs here and this scoots out. And once it scoots out to a certain point, then it slips past the gear. We're gonna go home, weld the nose cone, and then we'll have good battery, working starter. We don't have to send this out or buy a new starter, and we'll be ready to go try and get this thing going the next time. Back here at Pop's shop, he's getting the welding equipment going. I guess the plan is to braze this thing. Brazing is new to me. He says that's when you use brass. So we're gonna get to see how that works.
See how close that is? I should have a
Put a little nylon spacer?
A spacer in there. That would just make sure that it didn't, when this thing comes out, it's not going to pop off.
You trying to make it less oblong?
I'm just trying to make sure it's as tight as it can be.
Yeah, see, now it's spinning in there.
That's lefty loosey, righty tighty on this one. Backwards.
I don't think there's any connective tissue left in there now.
Yeah, which further we came up.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. I mean, at least we're more on the thing, and there's less chance of it coming out of there.
Okay. So it was actually properly spinning. It wasn't just...
Yeah. No tries.
Yeah.
Try not to get anything on the shaft. We're just going to braze just those two little holes.
Okay, we got 200 kPAs, kilopascals, of which one? Green?
Oxygen.
That's what I meant to say, oxygen. 8,000 kPAs of nitrogen?
Well, that's acetylene, that's oxygen.
I meant to say acetylene. 8,000, really? Why is there such a huge difference?
Use 3 times the amount of oxygen you do of acetylene.
I just learned that just from maths. Hopefully some other people will learn it too, I guess. Three times would be 600 though, and that says 8,000. Am I thinking about that wrong?
I have to look at the gauge.
The green gauge, the oxygen says 200 kPa, and
So this is about 1,000 psi. You're running about 25 to 30, and this is 300 psi, and you're running about I think
50
5,
kPa. I see. So
only about 5 psi.
so one's the pressure, and the other one's the well.
Well, they're both pressure, but it's this one's how much is in the tank. This is how much you're using.
Oh, I see. It's just a setting.
You don't want to be looking at that, right?
We're going straight to mad scientist mode. Pops, you ready for that?
Yep.
What's that mean?
That means he's got his working goggles on. He's about to play with fire.
Oh, do you need some working goggles for you though?
Check that. The brass rods are down at the other property, so we are going steel.
all burning off.
Got to bring the metal up to temperature, and then once it's at the right kind of heat, sort of like a soldering thing.
Yeah, kind of. We're melting metal.
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
Did it work?
Yeah, not totally happy with it.
Not totally happy.
Does this help soften it a little bit?
It just cools it, so we don't get too much heat transfer, and without getting too cold too fast.
Not tempering, essentially.
Right.
Solved. A little bit of welding, and we put a washer in here so that when the unit comes flying out of there and bangs against the wall, it's got something to stop against, a little bit of cushion. Everything clears and seems to operate. So fixed. Get this thing reassembled and ready for going back into installation mode. A little bit of grease for the nose cone for that to ride on. If you're gonna break something, you gotta fix it better than when you started. That's the rule. You need any grease on the teeth?
No.
They're supposed to be grippy. Okay. I'll work on putting that back together. Well, if you watch the baby doe rescue and me tearing apart a starter that was working fine, you know the Chinese finger trap problem of these springed brushes that are in here have to go onto this armature. And I fought and fought and fought last time, but eventually the answer was you just kind of put some light pressure on, and then you use a screwdriver to pick each individual one on until it's able to slide on. So that's the strategy I'm going to go with. Two-handed gig, so I'll bring the updates when I get it on here. So really hard to show with one hand, but you know, you just get one started then the next one, and you keep the pressure on the ones you've got started, and then use the pick or the tool to get the next ones on there until they all are on and it can slide forward. That's it. Starter is ready to go back in once I put the screws in it. There's a cheeky little guy right here. It's a pin, and it can spin 90 degrees. And when it does that, this goes all the way in, but minus a 1/16. And that 1/16 was causing everything to bind up and be stuck. So this has to face out and then key into this. It's tricky to figure out why this wasn't going together and being happy, but that was the problem. I pull it out and show you, but it was painful to get it in there, so we're gonna call it good. All right, third time we're going through this. We figured out why it wasn't seating, and I'm gonna try and show it on camera. The first thing I learned is that you gotta make sure these aren't twisted, because if they're twisted, then they won't slip up in here. That one looks good. Looks okay. So I'm gonna get the bottom one started, and once I've got it hooked on here, I keep that on the whole rest of the time that I'm doing this. Now I've got two. It gets harder as you go. This third one is not on yet. So here's the challenge you run into, is that you get some of them on, and then this one's gotta be really gentle. It's gotta be able to come up. Drop my screwdriver. Here we go. Okay, so that one is on. I got 3 and 4. Fix that one. And then you can slide it on. A little bit tricky, but it works. And this should now spin freely.
Big difference, huh?
Yeah, everything's happy. So go ahead and bolt this up. Still good. Need a slightly bigger screwdriver.